Welcome to the law offices of Chris M. Ingram's Immigration Podcast. Today, we are excited to continue our four-part series on the L-1A and L-1B visas. We're having a great time presenting these U.S. visas with you. We hope you're enjoying them too. The L-1A and L-1B visas offer excellent opportunities for business professionals to be transferred to the U.S. They can either establish a new branch of a foreign company or transfer talent to an existing U.S. branch. Moreover, we also cover how these visas provide a pathway to obtaining a green card. Okay, so let's dive into part two. Before we begin, we'd like to thank attorney Chris M. Ingram and his team for their diligent work in researching and preparing the legal research for this deep dive. Also, please give us a like or follow, and better still, subscribe to this channel. All of these actions really help us a lot, so thank you. Disclaimer: please do not consider any content on our channels as providing you with legal advice. If you would like a free consultation, please go to www.breakthroughUSA.com. Okay, let's unpack this a bit more then. In part one, we sort of laid the groundwork, looked at the big picture of U.S. business visas.
Now, for you, we're diving deep, really deep, into the L-1A visa specifically. You might be asking yourself, why this one? Why is this particular visa seen as such a cornerstone, such a strategic tool for executives and managers wanting to make their mark or, expand their footprint in the U.S.? It's clearly more than just filling out forms, isn't it? It feels like a calculated move.
Oh, absolutely. What's really fascinating here, and this comes through strongly in our legal team's research, is how the L-1A isn't just about, moving someone from point A to point B. It's fundamentally about the strategic deployment of leadership. Think of it like positioning your queen on the chessboard globally. This visa is specifically designed to enable the transfer of that top-tier talent. We're talking about the architects, the key decision makers who drive a company's future, moving them to push forward the company's U.S. ambitions. Think about how that integration works, taking proven global strategies and embedding them directly into the American landscape. For any growing business, especially one with complex international ties, that level of strategic control, that direct oversight, well, it's absolutely crucial. It ensures consistency, helps replicate success, and drives rapid expansion in a new vital market. You're leveraging known leadership for success.
That makes perfect sense. So with that strategic weight behind it, what does this all mean for you if you're thinking about this visa? For yourself or maybe for your key people? The basic question, and it's often the first real hurdle, seems to boil down to this. Are you really an executive or a manager? According to the specific definitions in U.S. immigration law, that is. Because, let's be honest, it's not just about the title on your business card, is it? We've all seen titles that don't quite match the day-to-day reality. So let's peel back those layers. Let's break down these crucial definitions because immigration looks at the substance, right? Not just the label.
Exactly. The whole foundation of L-1A eligibility rests on proving the person coming to the U.S. will genuinely serve in either an executive or a managerial capacity. Let's start with executive capacity. The definition here is pretty precise. It's aimed at people right at the top of their functional area. It means directing the management of the entire organization or a major component, maybe an essential function of it. And the responsibilities. Well, we're talking about establishing the big goals, the core policies for the organization or its key parts. These individuals exercise really wide discretion in decision-making. They don't need constant hand-holding or approval for every little thing, and they typically receive only general supervision from higher-ups like senior executives or the board. They're the strategists, the ultimate decision-makers in their sphere. To make it more concrete, think about an example from our team's work. Imagine the CEO of your foreign subsidiary. If that person is coming to lead the entire U.S. branch, not just, say, the marketing department, that's executive capacity, they're the ones setting the whole vision for U.S. market entry, defining the product strategy for America, forging those high-level partnerships. This person isn't just supervising, they're genuinely steering the ship in the U.S., setting the course. Their decisions impact the whole U.S. operation. Okay, now let's shift to managerial capacity. This definition is maybe a bit broader, but still very specific. It means supervising and controlling the work of other supervisory, professional, or managerial employees. That's key, directing people who themselves have management or professional roles, not just frontline staff. Or, alternatively, it can mean managing an essential function within the organization. This could be a critical department, a subdivision, maybe even a key process, without necessarily supervising other staff directly. The crucial point here is that the manager isn't spending most of their time doing the actual operational tasks that their team performs. They're directing, coordinating, overseeing, focusing on the higher level strategy and execution for their area. A classic example, one our legal team often points to from their studies, could be a startup founder transferring their operations manager. Let's say this manager comes from the overseas office to handle all the supply chain logistics in a new U.S. facility. This isn't just someone scheduling deliveries. This manager has real, substantive authority over the whole process, strategic vendor choices, implementing new inventory systems, making sure it all integrates smoothly with global operations. They have the power to make significant decisions within their function. That shows true managerial oversight, whether it's over processes or people. It's about strategic execution. So how do you prove all this to the immigration folks? That brings us to the crucial evidence you need. Attorney Chris Ingram's research really hammers this home. You need robust evidence. Things like detailed job descriptions that clearly spell out the duties, performance reviews that highlight leadership and decision-making authority, and, very importantly, clear, comprehensive organizational charts. These aren't just, bureaucratic checkboxes. They're the fundamental tools you use to show the role's substantive authority and how it fits precisely with the immigration standards. No ambiguity allowed. If you connect this back to the bigger picture, it's all about proving to USCIS that this position is genuinely high level, that it's critical to the business. This detailed documentation serves two main purposes. One, it validates the legitimacy of the role itself. And two, importantly, it helps prevent any potential misuse of the L-1A visa. It ensures the visa serves its intended purpose, bringing essential high-impact leadership to the U.S. You're essentially painting a very clear picture of the role's impact and scope within the company, showing how it directly drives the U.S. entity's strategic goals.
That breakdown of the definitions is incredibly useful, especially if you're trying to figure this out for the first time. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, especially for entrepreneurs or companies just starting their U.S. journey. What if you don't even have a U.S. office yet? Does that automatically disqualify you? Do you have to wait until you've already set up shop, maybe hired a few people? Apparently not with the L-1A. This visa seems to have this unique flexibility that really stands out for those starting from scratch in the U.S.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. The L-1A has a specific provision for new U.S. offices, and yeah, it's a total game changer for many businesses looking to expand internationally. You definitely can qualify even if your company has zero existing U.S. presence. The main thing you need to show is that you've secured legitimate physical premises for the U.S. operation. And this is critical. It means a real dedicated commercial space. A leased office, a warehouse, maybe a small factory floor. Importantly, not just a home office or a virtual address. It shows a tangible commitment. Beyond that, and this is key, you have to demonstrate that the U.S. operation will be robust enough financially and operationally to actually support an executive or managerial position within 1 year of getting the visa approved. This shows USCIS you have a clear plan for growth and a genuine near-term need for that high-level leadership role. This provision is really perfect for startups bootstrapping their way into the huge American market. Imagine, say, a cutting-edge fintech innovator from Singapore. They've got groundbreaking tech, but they need to be in New York to tap into Wall Street connections and capital. The L-1A lets the founder as the executive come over, set up shop, and build the U.S. team around their leadership. Or another example our attorneys see often, a European renewable energy company wanting to establish its North American HQ to manage new solar projects across several U.S. states. Now, to actually meet these requirements, you need more than just a good idea. You have to show financial viability. This means proving your foreign company has the necessary capital both for the initial setup and for ongoing operations to support the U.S. venture for at least that first critical year. And crucially, you need a clear, detailed, and persuasive business plan. This is essential. Our team's research consistently shows that without a solid, compelling plan, one that outlines realistic projections for U.S. revenues, staffing, operations, even a very promising startup might hit roadblocks. USCIS wants to see that this new office is a serious, well-funded undertaking, not just, dipping a toe in the water. Okay, moving on to stay duration and extensions. This visa also gives you significant runway for growth, which is vital. For these new offices, the initial stay granted is typically up to 1 year. That first year is designed specifically to give you time to get established, get operations running, and really bring that U.S. entity to a point where it demonstrably supports the executive or managerial role. After that initial year, assuming things are progressing well, the visa can usually be extended in 2-year increments. And the total cumulative stay allowed on an L-1A is up to 7 years. The strategic value of having up to 7 years, well, can't be overstated, especially if you have ambitious growth plans. 7 years gives you that critical breathing room to really scale your U.S. operations. It allows for genuine long-term strategic planning without the constant worry of an imminent visa deadline. This duration is particularly beneficial in today's volatile global markets, right? Where you might need to pivot quickly or adapt your strategy. Being able to file for extensions to accommodate these evolving business needs without interrupting the leadership presence means you maintain continuity. You can focus on growth, respond agilely to market shifts. It's really about providing that essential stability for sustained expansion, allowing for strategic planning without that shadow of temporary status always looming.
USCIS is cracking down on visa fraud, and even approved cases are being revoked.
Why was my visa denied? USCIS revoked my approval. At the law offices of Chris M. Ingram, we handle every detail with care. Every form, every fact, every time.
So join us for a free consultation. We do things the right way. Let us take care of you.
That flexibility for new offices is definitely a huge plus. But let's broaden out again and talk about the core benefits, because this is where the L-1A really seems to deliver exceptional value for business leaders. This is probably why so many companies and individuals choose this specific pathway. You might be thinking, okay, but why the L-1A over other options? Maybe an E-2 visa or something else that seems simpler. Okay. The answer seems to lie in these unique advantages that cater directly to the needs of international businesses and their high-level people.
You've hit on a really crucial point there. One of the most compelling advantages, and honestly this is huge, is that there are no numerical limits on L-1A approvals. Zero. Unlike some other very popular U.S. work visas, like the H-1B for skilled workers, which have strict annual caps and often involve a lottery system just to get a chance to apply. The L-1A isn't capped at all. This is often overlooked, but it's a massive strategic benefit. In today's fast-paced global economy, being able to deploy your top executive talent when you need them without waiting months or even a year for a lottery or cap opening, that's not just convenient, it's a critical competitive edge. Think about an entrepreneur in a rapidly growing field, maybe AI, biotech, renewable energy. Timing is everything. Your company's U.S. expansion isn't held hostage by government quotas or sheer luck. If you meet the criteria, the visa is available. That allows for predictable planning and swift action. Beyond the caps, the L-1A is absolutely instrumental in maintaining control and preserving knowledge. This visa lets you transfer your key people, the ones who embody your company's unique strategies, your critical IP, that invaluable institutional know-how. It's not just about bringing over an employee, it's about safeguarding a competitive advantage that outsiders couldn't easily replicate. Let's say you're an executive in advanced manufacturing, and your company overseas has developed highly efficient, maybe even proprietary production methods. Transferring you to manage the U.S. production ensures that consistency, that quality, that adherence to your special processes. This direct oversight can significantly cut costs, boost profits by implementing what you know works, and protect your brand's reputation. And think about industries facing talent shortages right now: tech, specialized healthcare, certain engineering fields. The L-1A allows for the rapid deployment of experienced leaders. These leaders can immediately start mentoring local U.S. teams, accelerating knowledge transfer, and getting new operations up to speed much faster. It means your U.S. branch isn't starting from ground zero in terms of expertise. It's building on a foundation of proven success right from day one. And then there's dual intent. This is, frankly, a game changer. Attorney Chris M. Ingram emphasizes this constantly. He says, and I quote, "The L-1A visa stands out for its uncapped nature and dual intent, allowing executives to build long-term strategies without fear of visa expiration disrupting plans." What does that mean for you practically? It means that as an L-1A holder, you can apply for permanent residency, a green card, without it negatively impacting your current L-1A visa status. With some other temporary L visas, applying for a green card can raise questions about whether you truly intend to leave eventually. The L-1A specifically allows for this dual intent, the intent to stay temporarily and potentially permanently. This feature empowers managers and executives not just to lead temporary projects, but to seamlessly transition towards permanent residency if that's the goal. This creates incredible stability, both for the individual professional and for the business they're building or expanding in the U.S. Chris often shares that many of his firm's clients have used this exact pathway. What started as a temporary transfer evolved into an enduring U.S. success story, allowing them to put down deep roots both professionally and personally. It provides immense peace of mind and enables truly long-term strategic planning, knowing that your future in the U.S. can be secure.
That's incredibly powerful, especially for strategic planning. It makes me think, though, beyond just the business mechanics, how does the L-1A support the whole person, the family? Because relocating isn't just about work, right? It's about life, about making sure your family can thrive too. That must make the whole move much more appealing. What are those specific family benefits, and how do they actually work to support a smoother, more holistic relocation experience?
That's an excellent point, and you're right. It's often a major deciding factor when top international talent considers a move. The L-1A really does consider the bigger picture. It recognizes that a successful professional transfer often hinges on the well-being and integration of the entire family unit. So one of the biggest family perks is that your spouse and unmarried children under 21 can accompany you to the U.S. They get what are called L-2 derivative visas. But where it gets really good is with spousal work authorization. Now, in the past, this sometimes involved extra steps, maybe a separate application for work authorization, but things have improved significantly. Thanks to recent policy changes and clarifications, spouses on L-2 status are now much more straightforwardly authorized to work in the U.S. In many situations, their L-2 status itself, often coupled with an employment authorization document, EAD, issued based on that status, automatically recognizes their eligibility to work. This is a massive benefit. It's not just about family unity or finances, although those are important. It makes the entire proposition way more attractive to the kind of high-level talent companies want to recruit. Imagine trying to convince a top executive from, say, Germany to uproot their life if their spouse, who might also have a great career, couldn't work in the U.S. This enhanced work authorization removes a huge potential obstacle. And tying back into the dual intent we discussed, the L-1A offers a very clear and often advantageous pathway to a green card, specifically through the EB-1C category. As attorney Chris Ingram highlighted, that dual intent lets you pursue permanent residency without risking your L-1A status. This frequently happens via the employment-based first preference category for multinational executives and managers, the EB-1C. This is essentially designed as a direct green card pathway for people in roles similar to L-1A holders. It grants permanent residency. What's really compelling about the EB-1C is that it usually bypasses the standard labor certification process needed for many other employment-based green cards. Normally, for most other green card paths, the employer has to first prove to the Department of Labor that there are no qualified U.S. workers available for the job, a process that can add years, cost, and a lot of uncertainty. The EB-1C essentially recognizes the high-level nature of your role and allows you to skip that entire step, leveraging your L-1A qualifying experience directly. It's a significant shortcut. And finally, for larger established businesses that do these kinds of transfers frequently, there's a fantastic tool called the blanket petition. This really is a streamlined powerhouse. If your company meets certain criteria, like having multiple related entities, significant U.S. revenue, or a substantial U.S. workforce, it can get pre-approval from USCIS for multiple L-1 transfers, both L-1A and L-1B. What this means is, once the company has this approved blanket petition, individual employees who qualify can often apply for their L-1 visas directly at a U.S. consulate or embassy abroad. The company doesn't need to file a new, lengthy individual petition with USCIS every single time. Our legal team's research shows that clients, especially large tech firms, global consulting groups, big manufacturing companies, use this blanket L extensively. It allows them to rotate executives and managers seamlessly across their global footprint. This not only fosters innovation by bringing diverse leadership experiences to the U.S., but also allows for incredibly agile talent deployment. This efficiency can literally save months of processing time compared to filing individual petitions one by one. It lets companies respond much faster to market needs like a sudden expansion opportunity or needing specific leadership to manage an unexpected crisis. It's really about strategic, proactive, global workforce management, cutting through a lot of the usual red tape.
That's a really impactful overview of all the features and benefits. Paints a very clear picture. But, like you said earlier, seeing it in action really brings it home. So what does this look like in the real world? Let's maybe explore a couple of creative scenarios drawn from real-world patterns that illustrate this power from that initial transfer all the way through to getting permanent residency. And let's use examples inspired by the top countries whose nationals often use the L-1A, India and the United Kingdom.
Okay, sounds good. Let's dive into scenario one. The visionary founder and the quantum leap startup, inspired by the tech boom in India. Right, picture this. In Bengaluru, India, a major tech hub, we have Dr. Arjun Singh. He's the founder and CEO of Quantum Leap. This isn't just another software company. They're deep into quantum computing, developing algorithms that can solve incredibly complex problems, things that take traditional supercomputers ages to figure out. As CEO in India, Arjun led a team of about 50 brilliant engineers, secured valuable patents, built key partnerships. They had an R&D budget over $5 million. He was clearly the driving force. But Arjun knew the real scaling opportunity, the next big leap, was the U.S. market. Silicon Valley beckoned the VCs, the potential NASA collaborations. It was the place to be for global impact. He realized that for Quantum Leap to truly achieve its potential, he needed to be there, on the ground, leading the charge. His personal executive leadership was deemed essential for the U.S. venture, and that's where the L-1A became his, well, quantum accelerator. For his L-1A application, Arjun easily met the requirement of having over 1 year of executive experience abroad. In India, he set the strategy, oversaw R&D budgets, supervised senior managers' classic executive duties. His U.S. plan was concrete. Establish a U.S. subsidiary in Palo Alto, lease lab space, ready to go. The L-1A recognized his executive role, allowing the move. Critically, no visa lotteries or caps meant he could move quickly. He got the initial 1-year stay granted for setting up a new office, giving him that crucial runway. During that first year, focused on building the U.S. operation, Arjun was hands-on. He hired 5 top engineers locally within months. He personally supervised adapting their core tech for potential U.S. defense contracts, demonstrating active executive leadership. His managerial capacity was clear, too, overseeing essential functions like quantum encryption development. He ensured the U.S. branch was viable and supported his executive role within that first year. Extensions followed naturally in 2-year increments, giving him that potential 7-year total. And importantly, his family integrated well. His spouse, a data scientist, got work authorization fairly easily under the L-2 rules and even contributed her skills to the startup's AI work. Smooth transition.
Rome, 20,000 spectators, 1 epic battle, 2 warriors, 1 destiny. But before they can fight for glory, they must face the real challenge, getting their visa approved.
If you want to enter, show me your visa.
They should have went to the law offices of Chris M. Ingram. They are very good.
Yes, I've heard the same. They handled my visa in no time.
Off to the lion's pit.
Come with me, boys. It's dinner time.
Because even legends need the offices of Chris M. Ingram.
Are you looking for a visa? Why don't you get your free consultation on the Breakthrough website? We're with you every step of the way.
Of course, there were challenges. Overcoming challenges and growth is part of any startup story. When global chip shortages hit hard around 2025, Arjun showed agility. He pivoted Quantum Leap to hybrid models, cleverly combining Indian precision manufacturing with American innovation. He personally went out and negotiated, successfully securing $10 million in VC funding crucial for scaling. All the while, he was training the new U.S. managers, instilling the company's unique culture. This wasn't just relocation, it was active empire building, showcasing how the L-1A empowers that direct frontline leadership. As Quantum Leap thrived in the U.S., Arjun naturally started thinking about long-term stability, permanent residency. The L-1A's dual intent was invaluable here. It allowed him to pursue a green card without risking his L-1A status. The logical path was the EB-1C green card. Quantum Leap's U.S. subsidiary filed the EB-1C petition for him. It highlighted his ongoing executive role and the strong qualifying link between the U.S. and Indian entities. Because the EB-1C criteria mirrored the L-1A's in many ways, and critically, because it bypasses that lengthy labor certification process, it was a relatively streamlined path compared to other options. Once the EB-1C petition was approved, Arjun filed for adjustment of status. That's the formal green card application done from within the U.S. This included his whole family. The processing took about a year, during which he kept extending his L-1A, ensuring continuous legal status. No gaps. This phase involved biometrics, fingerprints, photos, and interviews. In the interviews, Arjun powerfully showcased Quantum Leap's U.S. success, the jobs created, the innovation brought to the market. Around year 4 in the U.S., Dr. Singh received his green card. This meant unlimited stay, unrestricted work authorization for him and his family. That permanence fueled further growth. Quantum Leap opened a second major office, this time in Boston, hiring another 50-plus people, pushing their U.S. team well over 100. His spouse launched her own successful data science consultancy, Their kids flourished in U.S. schools. The green card also set them on the path towards potential U.S. citizenship later on. Arjun's story, as our legal team often discusses based on similar cases, isn't just a nice hypothetical. It's a real blueprint for how innovative startups can leverage the L-1A to achieve U.S. dominance. When Quantum Leap demoed a breakthrough prototype at CES 2026, Arjun often reflected on the L-1A. It empowered his direct leadership, leading to hundreds of U.S. jobs and significant economic contribution. For visionary leaders like you listening, this shows how the L-1A can bridge continents with strategic oversight, turning ambitious goals into tangible, permanent American success stories. Okay, now let's switch gears for scenario 2. The global retail titan and the eco-fashion revolution, drawing inspiration from the UK's strong presence in global commerce. Imagine Elena Vargas. She's the dynamic COO of Vertivogue, a major British sustainable apparel company. Think high fashion meets serious environmental commitment. Based in London, Elena had already transformed their European supply chain, managing 200-plus suppliers, leading executive teams across the continent, and driving policies that cut their carbon footprint by a massive 40%. With Vertivogue hitting over $50 million in foreign sales, the next big target was obvious: the U.S. market. Places like New York and L.A. weren't just big markets. They had that growing base of eco-conscious consumers and the potential for celebrity buzz. As an established multinational with clear affiliate relationships, Vertivogue was a perfect fit for L-1A transfers. And Elena, with her proven track record as a top manager overseeing major departments and functions, was the clear choice to lead the U.S. charge. So Elena transferred to the U.S. to manage Vertivogue's new American division. She had well over the required year of high-level managerial experience from the U.K. There, she oversaw everything from design pipelines to distribution logistics, making multi-million-dollar decisions with significant autonomy. The L-1A fit her role perfectly, allowing her to continue exercising that kind of managerial control stateside. Again, no caps, no lotteries meant no delays. She arrived on an initial 3-year L-1A stay, ready to shake up U.S. retail with Vertivogue's sustainable ethos. For establishing U.S. presence, Elena set up shop in Manhattan's Garment District, leasing an eco-friendly warehouse space. Smart move. Her management skills were immediately put to use. She hired and supervised about 30 U.S. professionals in merchandising and marketing. Crucially, she also directly managed essential functions like sustainable sourcing within the U.S. context, adapting their UK model. The visa's potential 7-year duration gave her confidence to scale. By year 2, they were already launching innovative pop-up stores in LA, cleverly blending British styles with U.S. trends. The family benefits were key here too. Her husband, an architect, used his L-2 work authorization to work freely. He even designed their unique store layouts, bringing a touch of British design flair. It made the family transition much smoother. Elena really shone when faced with innovation and strategic pivots. When new tariffs threatened imported goods around 2025, she didn't panic. She skillfully pivoted Vertivogue's strategy, building stronger local U.S. partnerships and even training U.S. managers on their proprietary eco-dyeing techniques to bring more production onshore. Her executive decisions included allocating significant R&D funds right here in the U.S. This led to a breakthrough, a new fashion line using recycled ocean plastics. That generated huge media buzz and resulted in $15 million in U.S. sales fairly quickly. That's leadership in action. And all along, the L-1A's dual intent kept the pathway open for a green card, securing her long-term vision. Transitioning to the green card via EB-1C felt like a natural next step, given her sustained, high-level managerial role in the U.S. Vertivogue, her U.S. employer, filed the EB-1C petition. They highlighted her extensive international management history and the company's qualifying global structure. Again, the EB-1C allowed them to bypass that labor certification hurdle, saving significant time. After the EB-1C was approved, Elena applied for adjustment of status for herself and her family, extending her L-1A as needed to maintain continuous status throughout the process. This involved extensive documentation showcasing her contributions, Vertivogue's U.S. growth, the jobs created, her impact on the sustainable fashion sector here. Interviews emphasized this impact. Within about 12 to 15 months, Elena secured her green card. That freedom from visa renewals allowed for even bolder moves, like opening a flagship store down in Miami. Her husband scaled his architectural practice. Their kids were thriving in U.S. schools. That permanence really anchored Vertivogue's U.S. arm, which grew to employ over 150 local staff, becoming a real player in the U.S. green economy. Elena's story, as Chris often points out, really shows how the L-1A acts like the thread weaving global ambition into the American fabric. It evolves naturally into enduring residency for key leaders. When Vertibug debuted at New York Fashion Week in 2027, Elena probably raised a toast to the L-1A strategic leadership without borders, culminating in a green card. For executives and managers on L-1A, our attorneys consistently see the EB-1C pathway as a logical progression that rewards that proven leadership. Bypassing labor certification lets them focus on business growth, not immigration hurdles. It enables countless leaders to build lasting U.S. legacies.
Wow, those scenarios really paint a vivid picture. They show the L-1A isn't just a visa, it's a platform for transformation, both of the company and the individual. But let's be real for a second. Even with such a powerful tool, things don't always go perfectly smoothly. There must be common challenges, potential pitfalls. So this raises an important question for you, listening right now. While these scenarios sound great, what are the typical hurdles people face? And maybe more importantly, how do you navigate them successfully? Looking forward, are there any key trends emerging right now that could impact how you might use the L-1A?
You're absolutely right to ask that. No immigration process, no matter how beneficial it seems, is without its potential bumps in the road. And that's exactly why getting expert guidance can be so crucial. One of the most common challenges our team sees is effectively proving capacity. Like we discussed earlier, it's not enough to just say you're an executive or manager. You have to rigorously show the depth and scope of that role. Not just with the title, but with clear organizational charts, detailed lists of duties focusing on high-level responsibilities, and evidence of your decision-making impact. USCIS scrutinizes this closely. They want proof of genuine high-level responsibility, supervising other professionals or managers, or controlling an essential function, not just overseeing day-to-day operations. For startups specifically, demonstrating startup viability can be a significant hurdle. Yes, the L-1A allows for new offices, but you must convince USCIS that your U.S. operation has a realistic shot at significant growth. And critically, that it will genuinely support that executive or managerial position within the first year. Common pitfalls. Our attorneys often see applications weakened by insufficient documentation of actual supervisory duties. Maybe the role looks too operational, or financial projections that seem overly optimistic or lack concrete backing, failing to convince USCIS of long-term viability. You need solid financial proof and a believable business plan. Another challenge can be maintaining the qualifying relationship between the foreign company and the U.S. entity throughout the visa period. This means the foreign company needs to keep operating actively, and the parent subsidiary or affiliate relationship must remain intact. If the foreign entity closes or the ownership structure changes significantly, it could jeopardize the L-1A status. Similarly, proving sufficient foreign operations can sometimes be tricky. The foreign entity needs to remain a viable, active business, not just a shell set up to facilitate the transfer. Documenting this ongoing activity is key, and this is precisely where the role of expert guidance becomes so incredibly valuable. At the law offices of Chris M. Ingram, they specialize in building these complex L-1A cases. They work meticulously to align your specific business story with the strict immigration requirements. They use detailed business plans, solid financial data, and compelling evidence of your international track record. For example, they help clients craft clear org charts that show reporting structures accurately and compile documentation proving decision-making authority. They have a strong history of turning potential roadblocks into successful approvals, even in challenging fields. Think biotech, where showing managerial oversight of complex FDA compliance is vital. Or fashion, emphasizing how the transfer boosts U.S. economic activity through design or sustainable practices. With experienced guidance, these common pitfalls can usually be mitigated through thorough preparation and strategic submission of evidence that anticipates potential USCIS questions.
They said my EB-1 needed more categories. I can't even dock. What am I gonna do?
I need to find the right lawyer that can navigate me through this crisis. I need my EB-1 so my new life can begin. These lawyers are amazing. They are walking me through every questions, making sure I don't miss a thing.
Thanks to the law offices of Chris M. Ingram, I'm cleared to land. But my career is gonna take off.
Houston. He got his visa.
Need help with your visa? Book your free consultation now at www.breakthroughusa.com and let us take care of you.
Now, let's touch on industry trends for the L-1A. What are we seeing right now? The L-1A seems particularly potent for businesses, both startups and established players in high-growth sectors. As we look towards 2025 and beyond, think about the surge in tech innovation AI, quantum, fintech. Think about clean energy, advanced manufacturing, specialized healthcare. In these areas, transferring key executives or managers to oversee U.S. R&D, lead sales efforts, or manage complex projects can provide a decisive competitive advantage. For instance, imagine a German clean energy startup. The founder could use the L-1A to come to the U.S., manage crucial partnerships with American utility companies, and leverage federal incentives to accelerate their expansion here. That direct leadership is key. This trend is also amplified by the whole post-pandemic shift. We're seeing more complex hybrid work models. In that environment, having a strong physical executive presence in the U.S. becomes even more critical for effectively coordinating teams scattered across time zones and driving innovation cohesively. We should also talk about cost effectiveness and ROI, return on investment. Yes, there are definitely government filing fees and legal costs involved in the L-1A process. But when you compare that investment to the often much higher costs of recruiting, hiring, and training entirely new senior-level staff and the U.S. staff who likely won't have your company's specific institutional knowledge or cultural alignment, the L-1A often looks very favorable. Plus, those generous extensions, up to 7 years, provide incredible leadership continuity. That minimizes disruption to your strategic plans. For you as a business leader, this means you can focus more on innovation, growth, and revenue, and less on navigating complex immigration hurdles alone. And in pure economic terms, our researchers consistently find that the L-1A typically yields a very high ROI. Why? Because the transferred executives or managers bring their proven strategies, their established networks, their deep company knowledge. They can often boost revenue or optimize operations remarkably quickly. Think back to the retail executive example, optimizing U.S. supply chains to cut costs by, say, 20% in the first year. That's a tangible, measurable return directly linked to the L-1A transfer, making the upfront investment very worthwhile. And these aren't just abstract ideas. We see real-world transformations all the time. The L-1A has genuinely been the catalyst for transforming promising international startups into U.S. powerhouses. Our attorneys worked with a fintech entrepreneur from India, for example. He used the L-1A to transfer as the executive founder and establish his U.S. headquarters. With the stability and credibility the visa provided and the tailored legal guidance he received, he successfully secured crucial funding and partnerships that scaled his company tenfold in the U.S. market. The legal team provided that crucial support, structuring the corporate relationship correctly, preparing compelling evidence of his executive capacity. These kinds of transformations are especially common in dynamic sectors like fintech, where navigating the complex U.S. regulatory environment, think SEC, FDIC rules, absolutely requires experienced leadership on the ground. The L-1A enables that rapid adaptation and compliance, paving the way for fast, sustainable growth.
So let's bring it all together. What does this really mean for you? As we wrap up part 2, we've definitely gone deep into the L-1A visa. We've unpacked its eligibility rules, highlighted its amazing flexibility, especially for new offices, detailed its powerful strategic benefits, and walked through some really compelling real-world scenarios. We've really underscored its critical role in empowering executives and managers, enabling them to establish or expand a U.S. presence, sometimes right from the beginning. Through these examples, and drawing heavily on the insights from attorney Chris M. Ingram's dedicated team and their research, it's crystal clear that this visa is much more than just paperwork. It's a potent tool that facilitates crucial leadership transfers, directly driving business success and helping individuals build lasting legacies in the U.S. But as we said, the story doesn't stop with the L-1A. Next time, in part 3 of our series, we're going to shift our focus. We'll be diving into the L-1B visa. This is the L-1A's sibling, specifically designed for employees who possess specialized knowledge, think unique technical skills, proprietary process knowledge. We'll examine its distinct requirements, uncover its unique benefits, discuss the challenges specific to proving specialized knowledge, and explore illustrative scenarios. We'll show how the L-1B perfectly complements the L-1A, supporting innovation-driven growth by allowing companies to transfer critical, unique expertise. You definitely won't want to miss that exploration of how specialized talent fuels global business success in the U.S. Thank you so much for being with us today. We hope you gained a lot from this discussion. Please subscribe to or follow this channel, as it can significantly increase the reach of this podcast and help us help more people. We'd greatly appreciate your support. Leave us a comment if you can. Also follow us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and Instagram, where we're growing rapidly thanks to our social media team. We would also like to thank attorney Chris Ingram and his dedicated team once again for researching and preparing this legal research for our presentation. If you, a friend, or a family member would like a free consultation, you can visit our website at www.breakthroughusa.com and schedule an appointment. We'd love to hear from you and help you if we can. Bye for now.